Hello and welcome. Thank you all for joining us here today. I'm Nick Rohn, Director of Technology for the Asset Leadership Network, and I'm excited for a program with Moshe Nelson, who we've had on this program before and in other programs, but it's been some time, so we're excited to hear from Moshe. And there he is. We'll bring you in just a sec. We knew you'd be right, very punctual, so here you
Oh
are.
boy. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
And just before we get underway, we want to thank our patron members, Jacobs, Mantech, Onuma, ABS Quality Evaluations, and CGI, as well as all our organizational members. And it's a growing list, and we'd love it to keep growing. And so please reach out if you have interest in working with us. We love brainstorming and seeing where people are at in their journey and how we can fit in and bring value either through the ALN or through our member organizations. So please reach out. And with that, we'll say we have some upcoming events. And we just came off quite a week of events, but we have ALN Thursday at 3, May 1st with Christina Benti. She's been on the program before, but again, we haven't talked to her in some time and always love catching up. And then we will have more programs in May, but they're kind of pending. Not sure on the dates yet. So stay tuned. And with that, we'll just say our member organization, Andrew James Advisory Group, provides A55K training. And here's a schedule for those upcoming courses. So if you or your team needs some professional development, this is based on the ISO 55000 asset management standard and definitely has some good things to teach everybody. So, Mike, Executive
Yes,
Director.
Nick. Thanks for showing us the what's upcoming. But you want to talk a little bit about what has happened already this week? It's been a very active week, so let's do a little report on that.
Sure. Well, I really enjoyed both Tuesday and Wednesday's programs. One was a meeting, just our book club meeting on Nexus. If you haven't heard of this book by Noah Yuval Harari, it's really worth a read. In about the information, Stone Age
It's
technology from the
information networks from the Stone Age
information
to
networks.
the information age. It's fascinating, just fascinating. And then to get people like Jack Kelly and Susan LaBelle from the Canadian PMAC talking about this topic with Jim Dieter. And actually, Nick, you were quite on fire this week with your comments too. You're right. I was really excited about that too. And then yesterday we launched the ALN Pilot Project Network and how we are trying to be focused on educating owners about what is possible to request. It's changing so fast that it's hard for them to know what to even ask for. So we're starting to pair our member organizations to showcase their capabilities so owners know what to request. So Moshe, would you say that that's an issue that owners don't even know the capabilities that consultants offer now, and they don't even know what to request?
I think that's really accurate. There are really a compendium of services or capabilities that enable improvement of organizations of their asset management ecosystem, and there's a bit of learning that has to occur in order to understand like what is the art of the possible, right? In terms of how I manage this more effectively from a systems perspective, efficiency, technology, innovation, and taking those broad categories and really whittling it down to, well, how is it that I improve the architecture? How is it that I improve the planning, the resourcing, the finance, the risks, the performance, and the communications, the management structure, the personnel, right? You sort of decompose all those elements and those tools in the toolbox that enable the improvement of them.
So the way you just walk through that list is great, because one of the things I've been saying is that the tools and processes don't allow incremental improvements. only transformative improvements are possible. And it's not transforming just one part of your organization. You listed all the things that transform. So like, let's say you start using digital twins. Well, that's going to change the way you contract and do accounting, because the virtual assets are going to be sending invoices, for their electric use, or, whatever. It's a whole new world. And we're hoping that this ALN pilot project will give a safe space for owners to understand what they can even do. So, well, we haven't talked with you for a while. It's so good to see you again.
Oh, just great to be back on the ALN Thursday at 3. I feel like I'm reunited with family.
Yeah, oh, great. Looks like you've got a tag that you are at a conference, perhaps?
Oh, just visiting different clients in
Oh, okay.
today. Just bouncing around.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for taking time out. We wanted to talk to you because we wanted to get an update on what Guidehouse is doing, and hear about some of your initiatives, and get a feel for this uncertain market that exists now in the federal environment.
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity to speak. And thanks for what the Asset Leadership Network is doing to bring together people from across the public and private, nonprofit, the education sectors. Really just such a wide variety of stakeholders that can continue in collaborate rather in a safe space, and share best practices, right? And really be there to support one another as we improve the asset management continuum. Like, things are very exciting in Guidehouse right now. We have continued to advance a lot of our services and solutions and our clients amongst really a changing environment, right? And I'd like to bring it back just a few years to say, how did we get here, and what are we doing? And I would say we,
Excellent.
as like the big asset management environment, and then how Guidehouse has played within that. I
Oh,
always I keep going back to COVID because I think COVID was a big reset, a time where organizations were pausing many of the strategic decisions or maneuvers, I would say, whether it's countries or companies, or just organizations writ large. It was essentially a time to pause. And what we've seen over the past few years at a macro level, and it's just such a great follow up to Yuval Noah Harari and Nexus, you've actually seen the execution on strategies uh, globally that have been pent up from years of stalling during the COVID environment. And those strategies can be from a public sector side, geopolitical, where countries have been making big moves to further their own policies, right, and their own interests. Those we've seen it within the private sector, executing on strategies that had been pent up, whether that be acquisitions or launching into new market territories, or launching initiatives that they hadn't for investments that would modernize, whether it's the output of their products for the commercial environment, or just the expansion or execution of their strategies for mission change, right? So we're in this time where people are, and organizations and governments, they're moving, right? They're moving very quickly and want to see change, want to see modernization. So this is really an era of change. From a Guidehouse perspective, that's always been we are change makers. We operate in a changing environment. Our comfort level is change, right? Our comfort level is not the status quo. So right now there are big challenges that clients are going through across the federal government, across the state and local government, within the private sector, as change occurs, and ensuring they can adapt effectively. And do they have the line of sight on how to adapt, what's coming next, and then what tools or decisions need to take place in order to do that? So, the past few months at Guidehouse, we've been helping many of our clients look at the changing landscape, predict what are the scenarios that could occur, and then quickly move out on ways to effectively do that. We have been advancing our own capabilities that are really driving efficiency for asset managers, right? So let's pull it down to the asset management environment. There's a significant focus on optimizing portfolios. There's decisions being made to move wholesale organizations, whether it's inside of DC, outside of DC, and what comes with that is the need to understand what's the data, what are the life cycle costs, what are the resources around institutions, and how can you effectively prepare for that change and make the right decisions when you want to essentially drive towards moving personnel, moving functions, moving organizations along the way. So we have been sort of laser focused and providing many of our clients those types of data points, right? What's the art of the possible? What are the key drivers that are necessary in order to make them successful in any such large organizational change, and then how to do that effectively to take cost out while being able to essentially drive more effective operations that are occurring. So I know that was a lot to come out of the gate, but
Thanks for the overview.
I was sorry to throw it up that way.
No, that was a great overview, and it elicited some questions. And
Great.
But all right, so how is asset management assisting in that?
Yeah, such a great question. So, every day I wake up and am happy that I am an ISO 55000 asset management certified person, right?
Yes.
Because from an asset management perspective and from 55,000, we are really looking at the system. We're looking at the strategies, the risks, the performance, the change, the communications, and 55,000, 55,001 they really create the playing field that enables you to do that change safely and effectively and efficiently, right? So from an asset manager, we look at changes to policy, and we look at changes to strategy of businesses, and we're able to essentially provide that line of sight to say, here are the factors we have to consider, you have to consider when deciding to relocate a facility from X city to Y city. What are going to be the critical success factors and the risks in order to effectively do that. So asset management really creates the I would call it the safety net, but also the decision-making platform to be able to make those decisions, those considerations successfully.
I like safety net, because when you tell your clients, here is the list, it's not your list, it's an internationally consensus-based driven set of factors. And so they can't dismiss you as it being yours. It comes from an outside party, and there's people would be silly to ignore it.
Yeah, and such a great point, Mike. And as we both know, right, the 55,000 being pioneered in places like Japan and Australia, in ecosystems that were highly sensitive in water, infrastructure, energy, right? And that was essentially the pressure testing the standards themselves in environments with no fail options, right? You cannot fail with water. You cannot fail with nuclear energy. So in a way, it's essentially creating a mechanism that has been tested in highly volatile areas or highly critical areas that you essentially can use as the as a through line for, let's say like less critical changes,
Yes.
and that could be movement of buildings and
And,
warehouses, right? Distribution facilities, so on and so forth.
and the timing that ISO 55000 came out is kind of perfect because it got time to be socialized and familiarized so that now that change is coming, we don't have to worry if it's going to work or not because the pressure testing has occurred.
Yeah, yeah, and it was designed in that way, right? It's not there are many broad factors or broad criteria that have been set up so that it could adapt to and fit different circumstances of change, right? And create that central construct that can then be applied. Right now, overlay, what every organization is faced with is how do I migrate the new world of artificial intelligence and data analytics into the contract and system and standards of asset management. And I think that, we have just incredible opportunity. For years, we have been utilizing, asset data, lifecycle data, utilization, operations and maintenance to help drive greater efficiency and use of assets, whether those are, fleet, vessels, aircraft, or the facilities within themselves. Well, with that data, with that collection of data, what we've been finding, utilizing, harnessing greater artificial intelligence, is that we can make not just good forecasting and prediction, right, which helps with budgeting and resourcing and decision making, but you could also discover, those items that were previously uncoverable, right? Because algorithms themselves are essentially coming up with, um, you know, analysis, based upon the broader criteria that you're setting out. So rather than saying I know the methodology, I know the questions that need to be applied, you're actually saying, here's the outcome I want to achieve. Give me that methodology to achieve that outcome. Then run that. Let me tweak it, run it, and give me the result. Now let me look at that result, verify, tweak whatever findings there are, and then can make decisions on what do I buy, what maintenance do I defer, what do I dispose of, what do I so on and so forth. So that we're in a great really in a great place right now, and just getting the tip of the iceberg, quite frankly.
Yes. And thank you for that insight about how to use AI. Start with the end in mind
Yes.
and then come back. That's
Yeah.
not something that anybody's mentioned before. It just makes common sense. I'm sure our members have been doing that, but thank you for sharing that with us. That's
Oh,
a great way to
it's
approach
so fun too, right? I mean, this is the uh, artificial intelligence is fun. Like, let's just put that, in quotation marks.
it. Yeah.
It's the art of the possible has significantly changed, right? Um, and and now there's the amount of discovery and learning that occurs through the democratization of AI, right? Creates an environment where we really can drive greater advancements and enhancements in ways that we just heretofore have not done. Now, so that's the upside.
Yes.
I could talk about the downside too, if you want to go there.
Well, one of our members, Kimono Numa, has done that, and he's adapted Isaac Asimov's three rules for robots for three rules for AI,
Sure.
saying you got to help humans, you can't hurt human beings, even if I don't have it, but Nick, if you've got a link to Kimon's rules of AI, that would be great. And uh, is there an example that you can provide that doesn't give away any government secrets. We don't want any,
Sure.
signal.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't give away any client secrets, for that matter. But I think everyone quickly jumps to the AI as its own living being that could possibly do harm, and horror movies of the 80s in particular, if you recall them, right? Um, but really, I think from a downside perspective, and we'll just like roll it back into the security environment, the defensive security environment where I operate in, is information is also sensitive, and information is proprietary for the commercial environment, right? So making sure that you're implementing AI and implementing data and controls of data in a way that protects the confidentiality of it, protects the ability to actually run analysis, and then within the operators that are essentially utilizing artificial intelligence, ensures that the learning that is taking place doesn't result in the adverse reactions or adverse decisions that were unintended, right? And there is a very steep curve that all of us will be journeying upon globally, right, with the implementation of AI.
Mhm.
The decisions that it produces are very actionable, right? And they're clear. And what has to occur is that human in the loop rationalization of AI, that enables, ensuring that that decision is the right decision that should be made, right? And if you boil that down to asset managers and you're running, you know, artificial intelligence analysis to determine, what action should I take, or how should I articulate, a business case for an investment, you really do need to, have a construct in place that it allows you to evaluate how that decision was made, effectively re-engineering the algorithm at a very high level, and then determining, is that truly the outcome that we're driving towards, or should that just, what portion of my decision should that inform? Because at the end of the day, at the moment, it's about informing, and then the decision, should be made. Others. I never thought I would quote Machiavelli, but Machiavelli said, "You surround yourself by many people, get their opinions, but come up with your own opinion," right? And that's very much like AI. Use AI, determine the opinions, determine the recommendations, and then from that, discern what you should do with all other variables taken into account.
That's a good Machiavelli quote of all the ones that you could have picked.
Yeah, sure, sure. Great comment in the chat there.
Yeah, that is. And so more on the downside, well, actually managing the downside. Asset management allows that governance, because when you consider your data as an asset and you apply the governance of asset management over it, you have ability to save yourself from some potential downsides.
Sure.
And the reality is it's a new tool, just like fire was a tool.
Right.
And fire helped us heat food so our brains grew, and it heated our caves and houses, and then it burnt down Moscow 4 times. So does that mean fire's bad and we shouldn't use it? No, it's about the governance to get the best out of it. So
Right. Yeah, and like I said, there's gonna be a learning curve. There's obviously, you have to create an environment where there's managed mistakes, right? Where you can learn from your mistakes quickly, revitalize your calculations or your questioning, and then effectively drive from there. And that's it. That's that whole ecosystem, the right strategies, the right governance, the right planning, and then execution is essentially what we've been trying to do.
I don't know if I am frozen or if Moshe is frozen.
You were frozen, Mike.
You're back.
Oh, we heard you.
Oh, you heard me. Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry for that. So we're getting to the end of the half hour and we know you've got a hard deadline. We're going to actually let you leave before the end of the half hour. So we'll end the program without you. But do you want to tell us anything about what Guidehouse is up to or anything? Are you,
Sure. Well,
whatever you want to share?
yeah, I mean, we Guidehouse has been, basically running and not just a sprint, but a full run to ensure that all of our clients are prepared and enabled to make quick decisions, that the integration of artificial intelligence into their constructs is being done effectively, and that we're modernizing and creating environments where decisions can be made that are justified, right? And that are data driven, right? And technology driven. So we've been spending a significant amount of time ensuring that all aspects of artificial intelligence, whether that would be natural language processing or large language models or robotic process automation, um, are being done smartly, not just to do it, right? In a way that can ensure that our clients, effectively and efficiently manage their work. So it's given the new emphasis, particularly over the past few months in this arena in the public sector. It's really an exciting time because we've been busy.
Yes, asset management is a great tool set to use during times of change, and that is what we're facing. So I'm glad to hear that you're keeping busy in this, and you're leading with asset management. That's very helpful.
Yeah, it's a very grounding, tough uh, subject area, literally.
Okay, so we've got one more question about, is it the analysis, is AI about the analysis data or the collection of asset information? Um, I think it's more than those two, but,
It's the whole life cycle of an asset, right? And I think that's what needs to be considered. It's the planning, it's the well, your collection of data, your planning. You go through the entire like activation, right? Operations and maintenance, disposal, and then life cycle costs. So all of these different elements throughout the entire life cycle of an asset are factors and characteristics that are used in artificial intelligence in order to make the right decision. And those decisions can vary, right? It can help you with predictive maintenance. It can help you with replenishment and of resources. It can help you with long-term forecasting. And particularly important at this time, which we're helping individuals with, is scenario planning too, right? Things are changing very rapidly. And as we see, increased insourcing and industrialization of the United States, like how are those changes to infrastructure in environments that are going to be ostensibly increasing their manufacturing capability? How will those change rapidly? And as policy changes occur, I can inform decisions and the customers and clients to be successful. So there's a lot of first out of the gate, and we're trying to be the first one to help our clients get there.
excellent. So thank you for joining us. I know you're pressing with a lot of things, and for you to slice a half hour out for us, it's very generous of you, especially when you're at a client office and you're taking time to talk with us. Really appreciate you joining us today, and we'll let you go. I'll bring on Nick and let Nick close us out.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you,
Great,
Moshe.
great seeing you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Moshe. Really appreciate your perspective on this. And before I do the final closing, I saw Andre posting a question about where we should focus our attention. And I just wanted to say it seemed like you were on the right track with data collection and analysis. Those are the obvious ones. But Kimono Numa, who we've been mentioning here, his recent posts has been using it a lot for storytelling. And we find storytelling is so important because we're emotional beings, humans are. And so all the rationale in the world and all the data sometimes doesn't get us to that point of decision like a well-told story. So really seeing even more applications of AI than you might expect in indirect ways, but very important ones.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Nick. I was going to ask you to talk about it because one of the applications is addressing what Nick has identified a long time ago. Problem with asset management is it's not sexy. And Kimon, yesterday, you can look in our website and see the opening video that Kimon created with AI, created a song, created a dancing robot, and AI can make asset management sexy. So that's another way to use it.
Heck yeah. And with that, thanks to our patron members, Jacobs, Mantech, Onuma, ABS Quality Evaluations, and CGI, as well as all our organizational members, and especially Guidehouse for Moshe's participation here today and his continued participation in the network. And with that, we'll say hope to see you soon. We have some upcoming ALN Thursdays at 3. And I don't know, Mike, maybe another non-Thursday program around our pilot program network too. So
we're going to be doing those monthly to let
Okay.
people get a steady understanding of these ways that owners can specify and request services and tools from our members. And Christina
Awesome.
Venti is really on fire, and she's got some things she wants to rant next week. So I really recommend coming. She's always a dynamic speaker, but she's really on fire these days. So.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining and sticking with us to the end here, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye.